20th verse. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. Meaning your kingdom shall fall and not rise again. And it shall, 21st verse, and it shall come to pass in that day, didn't happen yet, it's getting ready to happen. Brace yourself, Esau, you Edomites out there, that Yahweh shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high. What is that talking about? That's talking about your elite. And the kings of the earth upon the earth. 22. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners. And I think I can immediately go right to Psalms 149. It says we're going to shackle them up. This is going to be your reality. When the kingdom comes, you can do all the scratching and biting you want, trying to say that you're going to receive these blessings and the Lord, and he came for the nations, the Gentiles, and the Greeks. What about the Greeks in Galatians, the third chapter? Anytime you come across the word Gentile or Greeks in the New Testament, and it speaks about them in a blessed way, it's talking about Israelites, man. 22nd verse again. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Because we're going to appoint you to various jobs. It says 23rd verse. Then the moon shall be confounded and the sun ashamed when Yahweh of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion. In other words, the Most High is so powerful. When the Most High shows his power, everything, you're going to be in a daze, man. The sun is going to look different. The moon is going to look different. This planet is going to look different. And our kingdom is going to be a beautiful, glorious, powerful kingdom, which will never go down. It says, and in Jerusalem and before his ancients gloriously. So that's talking about the kingdom. But in order for our kingdom to come up, your kingdom has to go down in a dramatic way. And that's going to be your reality.
All right, I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Racha HaKodash. I had the Spirit gave me a lesson yesterday called "We Will Be Magnified," and I put some scriptures together to go into it. But the Spirit really didn't hit me to go live yesterday, so I was watching Apostle Tahar's video, Isaiah 14:13-23 explained. And as I was listening to it, I came across around the 18-minute and some change marker. And he pretty much went into how these elites are going to lose their power, how they're going into slavery, and how, we're going to be, our kingdom is going to be established, and the kingdom is going to be glorious. And pretty much sparked my spirit, to put the lesson together that I had. So I kind of used that as a catapult, to catapult, the lesson. And pretty much, we've been in such a low condition for so long, and Jake out there that don't even know what's going on. They've been in that low condition so long. They think that that's the only place we'll ever be, unless you sell drugs or unless you sell out and become some great entertainer, that gets fame and money, for bowing down to Satan. Those are the only ways that Jake feels that they can make it in this society. And for the most part, yeah, that is true, because this society belongs to Satan. And Satan tempted Yahawashi by telling him that if he would bow down to him, that he would give him all the kingdoms of the earth and all the riches of it. So that is a reality. And the scriptures speak about selling your soul. you know. But through this knowledge that we received, going back to roughly around the year 1969, when Abba Bivens was out teaching, then he chose certain men, and out of them, all the men that he chose and that he was teaching under, he really chose like 3 men to push this word, to keep it going, and that was King Masha, High Priest Ariah, and High Priest Yaikwab. And those 3 men continued on the legacy that Abba Bivens taught, which we believe through the Spirit and through faith that he is Elijah the prophet that was to come before the great and terrible and dreadful day of the Lord. You know, and those men continued on teaching and gathered other men, you know, on down the line, you know, as they were going along, teaching the word, all the way up until you see what's out there today, with Great Millstone and other schools or other Israelite groups out there that are considered one Westers, as these scoffers and these scorners call us, you know, which, you know, pretty much that's where the truth came from, was one West, you know. And this truth is starting to get magnified. Well, it's not starting. This truth is magnified now. And the men that are teaching this word, you know, we're all being magnified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, to pretty much go through spiritual boot camp, if you will, on how to become leaders, you know, and to get prepared to rule the next kingdom that's coming. You know, something that Jake in the ghetto, in the hoods, in the barrios, you know, on the reservation camps are not ready for, because we're in such a low condition. Well, the reason why we're in this low condition is because, you know, we broke the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and he brought us down into this low state that we're in, you know, being brought in the ghettos. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32. And just bear with me while I find the verse. Right. This is Deuteronomy 32 and 26. I said I would scatter them into corners, meaning the Israelites would be scattered into corners. When you read the 15th verse, it speaks about Jeshurun, which is a Hebrew word Yashawan, which means darling or first. And it says, I said I would scatter them into corners. Now, when you put something in a corner, pretty much you're just putting you just kind of putting it off to the side or putting it away. And that represents our living conditions today. You know, we're in the projects, you know, in the worst parts of the city. You know, when you go there, you mostly see Jakes there. You know why? Because that's part of the curses. It says, I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men, because the remembrance is what? That we're Israelites. And the name Israel, Yasha Allah, means he is a prince of the power, or a prince of God, or a prince with God. You know, so why is it that this, you know, that we, being Israelites and having such a strong name as Israel, as being princes of the Most High, why are we in such a low condition? You know, what's the deal? Well, the deal is that we're going to read here, Deuteronomy 28 and 43. It says, a stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. And this is part of the curses. So these nations that at one time, as the scripture said, were reputed to be nothing, have gotten in a very high position, a very high status above us. It says, and thou shalt come down very low. And being in the ghettos, you know, being ridiculed, being the butt of everybody's joke, being the proverb and the byword, you know, that is when you're brought very low. So much that when you tell them, look, we're the next rulers of this world, they laugh at us, because they can't, man, you guys are nothing but niggas and spicks, you know, and just go stay in your lane, stay in your place. you know, and that's how they look at us. They don't revere us as being these great people, these princes with the Heavenly Father, with God, you know, because we've been brought to a low estate and a low condition because of the things that we did, you know. But it was all a plan. The Most High is the architect. He planned all of this, you know, because it's going to be a great thing to take us from this low condition that we're in and exalt us, you know, above all these different nations and polish us back up and make us to shine as precious jewels and precious stones, you know. Where these people look at us, they're going to be in fear, in awe. Now, when they look at us, they laughing and joking, expecting somebody to dribble a goddamn basketball or tell some fucking joke and to make them laugh, or do some stupid dance that make them laugh. It's gonna go from that to a reverence of royalty. The word here for very low, the word is the same word. H4295. The word is mata, which that means down. Okay, so very low, downwards, below, downwards, under, of age, beneath. So we've low, not just low, but low, very low, you know. And that's where we're at right now, you know. And these minstrels that are doing the things that they do out there, they keep Jake in that eyes, the eye of the people out there. They keep them in that, with that same mentality. They think every Jake is a buffoon, you know. But that's part of the curses, you know. And that's right. Like the brother from GMS Hawaii, Yahweh, to put Lamentations 2:15. All that passed by clapped their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, "Is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth?" Yeah, because at one time we were magnified, but now we're brought very low. Okay, so it goes on to say, it says, "He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail." It says, "Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee," and they have, "and shall pursue thee." So no matter where we went, these curses pursued us and brought us very low. It says, and overtake thee till thou be destroyed. And we have been destructured because we are the greatest people on the planet Earth. We are royalty, but we've been reduced to paupers. You know, we've been reduced to the butt of everybody's joke. But that's how the Most High shows his power, man. You have to understand it. That's how the Lord shows his power, to grab a nobody in a low condition and bring him up. You know, somebody that they will look at as a bum, you know, and raise them up and to be over the so-called false royalty of this world. It says, "Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder." And these things have been upon us for a sign and for a wonder. And Esau, seeing that, that's why they're going into Deuteronomy 20. Oh, that's not talking about you people, because that's saying that you'll be sold into slavery, but nobody's gonna buy you, you know. And they're trying their best to pull this away from us, but the evidence is overwhelming. You know, all you have to do is read the book of Deuteronomy 28 and look at the history and see who this fits. It doesn't fit the so-called white man, the Edomites, you know. So that's why they're trying so hard and sending their flunkies out there to try to disband this thing. But this is not of men, because if this work were of men, it would come to nothing, and it's not going to come to nothing. That's right. The brother, behold, the physician chosen the foolish things to confound the wise. That's right. That's in our 1 Corinthians, the 1st chapter. It says, "And upon thy seed forever." That's why unto this day, these same curses are upon us. We're still in a low condition. But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, our minds are being elevated, and the world is seeing it, because the Lord is slowly but surely bringing us out of this condition that we're in, and taking these curses and starting to move them away from us, to raise us up, so that the world could see that, no, these are my people right here. These same people that you don't hold in esteem, that look at them like they're low, like they're pieces of shit. These are my people, and I'm going to exalt them. All right, so let's go from there to the book of 2 Chronicles 24 and 20. And the Spirit of the Most High came upon Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada, the priest, which stood above the people, brothers, and said unto them, thus saith the Most High, why transgress ye the commandments of the Lord, that you cannot prosper? Because you have forsaken the Lord, he hath also forsaken you. And that's the reason why we were forsaken, because we forsook the Lord. That's the reason why Yahweh had to come, because the covenant was, if you could transgress my laws, you have to sacrifice an animal, their blood, to receive remission or forgiveness for that sin. The Lord got tired of it, sent the Son. The Son became that precious sacrifice with his precious blood to redeem us back to the Most High. Otherwise, we would have been lost. You know, it says, so now let's go from there to Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1. It says, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee. So we went through the blessing. When we came out of Egypt, the Lord blessed us. It says, Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked, right? And we're going through the curses. We're still going through the curses to this very day. It says, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations. Are we not calling these things to mind among these nations? Know that we are the Israelites based off of such and this and that, and this prophecy and this precept. That's what we're doing. We're calling it to mind among these nations, and we're letting them know what's going down, because the Lord said he made us a prophet unto the nations. You know, that's what he said to Jeremiah. It says, whither the Lord thy power have driven thee. And we're all the way on the other side of the world, you know, the uttermost part of the earth, proclaiming these things. Like it says in Wisdom of Solomon, the brother from Hawaii put it up. You know, Yahweh, you know, that's we're standing in great boldness before the face of them, you know, that pretty much made no account of our labors. Because to them, we would have never been magnified. To them, we would have always been on the bottom. That's why when they so-called emancipated the slaves, the devils in the South, they wanted to keep Jake in slavery because no, these are our slaves. That's all they meant to be, you know. So much that they will use scriptures, servants obey your masters, thinking that they were the masters, and at that time they were. But that scriptures do not apply to Esau except for where it speaks about the Edomites and them receiving judgment. It says, and shall return unto the Lord thy power, which are not we returning to the Lord our power now, and shall obey his voice to all that I command thee this day, to thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy power will turn thy captivity. And that's what's happening. Our captivity is being turned, because our captivity is being turned right now mentally, you know. So we're no longer in a mental slavery. We're no longer under mind control or the government, as the word government is. Apostle Star broke it down. Govern is to rule, and ment is mind, to rule the mind or to be under mind control. So right now our minds are freed up. That's why Yahweh said, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Because mentally we're free, but physically we're still in captivity. So we're waiting for Yahweh to come back to loose the captive exile, because we're in captivity and we're exiles, because we're kings exiled from our land, you know, living as paupers in a foreign land, as it tells you in Ecclesiastes, the 10th chapter. I have seen princes on the ground and servants on the horses. You know, it says, and have compassion upon thee. And the Lord is having compassion on us by allowing us to have his name, his son's name, and this truth. Those are the tender mercies of the Most High, you know, to where he was so upset with us, he didn't even want us to know his name. But now he's letting us know his name, his son's name, his plans, you know, and allowing us to see these things that are coming, you know, and exalting us. And will return and gather thee from all nations, whither the Lord thy power have scattered thee. And the Lord is doing that by his word, right? It says, if any of thine be driven out into the utmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And that's what's happening. And the Lord thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possess. And this is what we're waiting for. And thou shalt possess it. And he will do it and multiply thee above thy fathers. Why? Because, like the Apostle Torah said, we're gonna be a mighty, glorious kingdom, man. Yahweh Shai, You know, you have the Most High, Yahushai, you know, and you know, the 144,000, the elect, and pretty much Israel. We're gonna be on a high, super high level, man. You know, and you know, and being in this condition, it doesn't feel like it sometimes. You know, it's like, damn, you know, we're supposed to be these great people. Why are we so fucked up, man? When's the Lord going to deliver us? But the Lord he's doing it. He's magnifying us, you know, but the Most High works in his time, not in our time. It says, and the Lord thy power will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed to love the Lord thy power with all thine heart. That's why he's going to put the laws into our inward parts, because we can't do it on our own, being in this flesh. And with all thy soul that thou mayest live. It said, and this is the point. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So now there's going to be a shift. And the shift is going to be that these curses that are upon us are going to be shifted from us to Esau and the other nations. Lamentations 1:21. They have heard that I sigh. There is none to comfort me. And these nations they ain't comforting us. All mine enemies have heard of my trouble. And they see the troubles that Jake is in. And instead of trying to help out, which they're not, what do? They lick the sores and they make it worse. You know, the fucking Moabites come in, they sell you that fake ass plastic rice and fucking rat meat and all kind of bullshit. They are glad that thou hast done it. Thou will bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me. So there's going to be a shift. There's going to be trading places. These nations are going to be in a low condition, and we're going to be in a high condition. You know, we're going to be exalted. The Lord is polishing us right now. You know, so now let's go from there to the book of Lamentations, same book, Lamentations, the 4th chapter. And because the first person that got to go down, the first people that got to go down are these Edomites. Their power structure has to go down. Once their power structure goes down, that's it. Our kingdom is coming, because the final kingdom that would rule on the planet Earth would be the kingdom of Esau. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Lamentations 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. Yeah, whoop it up, live it up, devils. You know, you got the planet. You know, you got everything cornered. Live it up. That dwelleth in the land of Uz, the cup also shall pass through unto thee, because this cup of slavery is going to pass unto you. You're the next major slaves. You're going to have slaves. The other nations are going to be slaves, but you're going to be the top slave. No, in other words, you're going to catch the most hell. Thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked. You're going to get it. You know, bottom line, people are going to know once and for all that you are nothing but a piece of shit. As to where you got the whole world bowing down to you, worshiping you as if you're the Most High, as if you're his son and the people of the Lord, they're going to look at you for what you really are, is that piece of shit, narrowly looking upon you. As it says in Isaiah 14. It says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. So our iniquity is accomplished. We're at the end of this thing. We're at the end of being on the bottom. We're at the end of being fucking footstools and foot mats and welcome mats. You know, as it tells you in Isaiah the 59th chapter, you know, that we would have to lay ourselves down so they could walk over us. They're not going to walk over us anymore. It says, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. And their sins are being discovered. And they're being set up for judgment right now. Because in order for us to rule, they got to go down. And that's the bottom line. All right, next scripture I have is Jeremiah 49:12. It says, for thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. And we drank of that cup. And oh boy, did we drink of that cup. You know, all you have to do is just go back. Like the Apostle Torah said, just type in slavery on Google Images, or type in yoke of iron, you know, on Google Images. You see all of the atrocities that Esau committed upon the southern kingdom, you know, and that's all you have to do is type that in, you know, and you'll see that Jake went through that hell, you know, And the other tribes, the 10 tribes, they were catching hell underneath Esau too. You know, and there's records of that. You could see the treatment that they were giving us. So we did drink of that cup. It says, and art thou he that has altogether, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? So the Lord is saying, are you gonna be without punishment, you devils that did this to my people? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. So they're gonna drink this cup. They're gonna drink it down, whether they choose or whether they refuse, because they're going down. All you gotta do, Esau, is read the curses in Deuteronomy 28, and that's gonna be what's gonna be waiting for you, but double. All right, from there, let's go to the book of Nahum, chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, what do you imagine against the Lord? He will make an utter end, because there's an end coming. The end is here. It says, affliction shall not rise up the second time. So we're not going back into captivity under this devil. See, the plans of these international bankers is to set up this new world order to put the whole world back in slavery. That's why they want to chip everybody with the mark of the beast, which is a microchip, so that they can keep track and they can control everything and everybody on the planet. That's what they want to do. But they ain't going to do it. They ain't going to accomplish it. They're going to get some of their stuff done. You know, they're going to get so far. And when they're about to sit back and enjoy the fruits of their demonic ventures, then they're gonna go down. They're gonna be destroyed. All right, and the elite, they're not gonna be touched by those missiles. They're gonna be nice and healthy, so they can go right into captivity. The chains are gonna be introduced to them first, so you could understand. Now from there, let's go to the book of Ezra. The 9th chapter, because part of our glory and part of our exaltation and part of our glory, I guess, for lack of better words, is having slaves. Part of being royalty is having slaves, having servants, having subjects, having captives, having people cater to your every whim, to your every need, to whatever you want, to your every desire. And that's part of ruling. That's part of a ruling class mentality. That's part of royalty, is having slaves. This is Ezra chapter 9 and 9. For we were bondmen, yet our power hath not forsaken us in our bondage. And the Lord didn't forsake us in our bondage. That's why he made known to us the things that are pleasing to him. No, because whatever he gave to Yahushai, he gave to us. You know, so the Lord he's having mercy on us. He hasn't forsaken us in our bondage. Now, this is going back during the time when we came out of the Babylonian captivity into the Medo-Persian captivity. But the point is that this applies today also, because the Lord is having mercy on us today also. It says, but hath extended mercy unto us in the sight of the kings of Persia, to give us a reviving. And that's what's happening. We're being revived. And this time we're being revived in front of the king of Babylon and these other nations. It says to set up the house of our power. And we're setting up the house of the power right now spiritually, which is the tabernacles of David, the house of David. And that's what's being set up right now spiritually. And that's why the Lord he has the 12 tribe sign out there, and he's gathering all the tribes, not just Judah, you know, not just Benjamin, Levi, but all of the tribes, you know, from Judah all the way down to Issachar, you know, because this is the house of David, and those breaches are being closed, meaning those differences that Esau pretty much put out there. That was the thing that Esau did, you know, that divide and conquer bullshit. But that's slowly but surely being pushed out the way for the elect. It says, and to repair the desolation thereof, and the gaps are being closed up. Back then, it was a physical building, you know, when they had to actually physically build with one hand and fight with the other. Well, we're spiritually building now, and we're spiritually fighting, you know. On the one hand, we're building, you know, with the scriptures, and on the other hand, we're defending the gospel. So we're fighting against opposition that's coming. It says, and to give us a wall in Judah and in Jerusalem, because the Most High is raising up the whole nation, not just one tribe or one kingdom. All right, as it tells you in the book of Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. Go and read that. All right, from there, let's go to the book of Jeremiah. And believe it or not, even in this captivity, even though Esau is over us, Esau helps us out too. Because you brothers that's out there in the camps, you notice sometimes them cops, when you first started going out there, they come up and harass us. But after a while, when they know what we're doing, you know, they'll come around and wish, you know, or shoo away anybody that's coming to bring mischief. So they work pretty much through the Lord is having them work for us. Jeremiah 15:11. The Lord said, verily it shall be well with thy remnant. Verily, I will cause the enemy to entreat thee well in the time of evil and in the time of affliction. So they are entreating us well. But it's going to come a point where these devils are going to try to close it down and shut it down. And that's when the Most High is going to make that move. You know, it's chess, not checkers. All right. So from there, let's go to Zechariah 8. These are the build-up scriptures, Zechariah 8 and 13. It says, and it shall come to pass that as you were a curse among the heathen, and are we not a curse among the heathen? You see these stoops, especially today, man. These jakes, man, are such a low condition, man. They pretty much got they dyeing their hair, putting all kind of tattoos on themselves, men wearing makeup and dresses and all that. They look like a bunch of fucking clowns. So it says, and it shall come to pass that as you were a curse among the heathen, O house of Judah, and house of Israel, so will I save you, and you shall be a blessing. And that's what we're coming to the point where we're going to be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong. And that's what we have to do. We have to let our hands be strong, because a lot of times those spirits come and try to keep us in a low condition, try to keep us in a depressed state. What you gonna teach? Why are you gonna teach that Bible for? You know you're feeling all jacked up and sorrowful. Why even bother teaching the Bible? You know, well, the reason why we're teaching the scriptures and teaching the Bible is first and foremost to edify the elect and to raise up the elect out of that condition, to elevate their minds out of that condition through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Because this is an empowerment, you know, this truth is an empowerment, and it is only going to empower those that are a part of the elect. The 2/3 are not going to accept this. They're going to fan their hand. But that's all right, because in the kingdom, they'll be in the kingdom. I mean, they'll be ashamed for a certain period of time, but this is all part of the plans. See? So when you have that understanding, you still get upset, but you don't get as upset because you understand that there's a purpose here. All right? So now let's go from there to the book of in the Apocrypha, Wisdom of Solomon, the 19th chapter. And the 22nd verse. It says, for in all things, O Lord, thou didst magnify thy people and glorify them. Neither didst thou lightly regard them, but did assist them in every time and place. And that's what's happening right now. The Lord Yahweh, through Yahushai, is exalting us and assisting us in every time and in every place. So every captivity that we've been in, the Lord has helped us. So now we're in the point now where the Lord is exalting us once again in our captivity, in this lower state that we're in. And it begins with the name of the Most High and the name of Yahushai. Those are the strong towers. And then the knowledge of who we are and the knowledge of the scriptures, that all comes together and cements this thing. All right. So now let's go from there to the book. Now we're going to get to the root of it. Now let's go to Isaiah 54, and we'll start at the first verse. It says, sing, O barren, thou that didst not bear. Now, you brothers that have been studying, you know that pretty much this goes back to Sarah and Hagar, because Sarah was the barren one and Hagar was the one that had children. But it says, sing, O barren, thou that didst not bear, break forth into singing and cry aloud, thou that didst not travail with child. For more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, saith the Lord. So Israel became a greater nation, although our foremother Sarah was barren at the time, and Hagar, she was able to bear Ishmael, but Sarah couldn't bear. But Ishmael, they became a great nation, but not as great as us. They became multiplied, but not as much as us, because that was a blessing that the Lord put upon the nation of Israel. And they had Ishmael had 12 sons. They had 12 princes also, but Israel was magnified above Ishmael. Okay, because we're the top nation on the planet. So the Lord said for us to rejoice in that. It says, enlarge the place of thy tent. Why? Because we're going, the earth is going to be bigger. The Lord is going to clean the earth up, and we're also going to inhabit different planets, and different whatever is out there that the Lord has for us. We're going to be inhabiting those places. John, let me get that real quick. St. John 14:2 says, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. So the Lord has a place prepared for us to go to. It's just like let's say, for on a small scale, you work all year long. You're stressed out on the job all week. All year, and then you get your 2-week vacation and you go to a place to forget about that and be pampered and live it up. The only difference is this place that the Lord has prepared for us. Once we go there, we don't have to come back into this condition. So with in this world, you have a job, you may get the 2 weeks off, and get pampered and have a good time, but then you got to go right back to work and deal with that for a whole nother year before you can get another vacation. This is going to be a permanent vacation. I remember one time Apostle Tara was teaching a class in the school that we had in Connecticut, and he said that the kingdom of heaven is going to be like a long weekend, a long, never-ending weekend. He had those long weekends, 3-4-day weekends. Well, the kingdom is going to be like that, but it's not going to end. It's going to be an unending, everlasting weekend, so to speak. All right, so from there, let's go to Isaiah, the 40th chapter. And just bear with me real quick. All right, Isaiah 40:22. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. So pretty much, there's dwellings out there on them different planets, and we're gonna actually go there. That's part of our reward, to be able to so-called do space travel that Esau wants to do. Be able to go to different planets, be able to jump in your chariot, of gold with you might want to have a chariot of gold with emeralds all around it, and flashing lights, and just jump in it and just fly out there wherever. You might have a planet, one planet that's yours, planet Yahweh. You just go there, and you chilling there. You got your, your family there. You got family there. You got family here. You got, man, forget about it, man. Whew. Isaiah 54:2. Enlarge the place of thy tent, and let them stretch forth the curtains of thine habitation, because we're going to increase. We're going to multiply. There's going to be a whole lot of shaking and rocking and rolling in the kingdom of heaven. Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 21 says, Salakia 22, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. The Lord will hasten it in his time. So the earth has to be bigger, and we have to stretch, our borders beyond the planet Earth. So all these other different planets that the Lord created, there's certain ones of them that we're going to inhabit. Possibly all of them. I don't, whatever the Lord has. It says, spare not, lengthen thy cords and strengthen thy stakes, because we're going to be as the sands of the sea, as the Lord promised. For thou shalt break forth on the right hand and on the left, and thy seed shall inherit the Gentiles. And this is part of our blessing, man. This is part of our glory, is to have servants, to have slaves. And the reason why Jake doesn't want slaves is because they're still in that slave mentality, because they're looking back and reflecting on what happened to them. You should want reparations. You should want revenge for that. Salakia. It says, and make the desolate cities to be inhabited. And Jerusalem is going to be inhabited again. And it's going to be beautified beyond. It's going to go back to the Garden of Eden, how it was intended to be and how it was at one time. It says, fear not, for thou shalt not be ashamed, neither be thou confounded, for thou shalt not be put to shame. See how we like shame now? People look at us, look down on us and talk shit about us and call us niggas and spics and all that. You know, that's shameful. But that shame is going to be put away. You know, it says, for thou shalt forget the shame of thy youth and shall not remember the reproach of thy widowhood anymore. So all that stuff is going to go out the window. It's just like a woman when she has when she's in labor and pain, and she's going through all that pain and all that hell to finally give birth to that baby. Once that baby is born, she forgets about that pain, and she looks at the baby and she's rejoicing that the baby is alive, and she forgot all about the pain. And that's how it's going to be when the Lord give us a kingdom. We're going to forget about all this pain and all this suffering that we went through. You know, that's what the Lord said, that there shall be no more tears, you know, among the nation of Israel. But the other nations, they're going to have tears because they put us to tears. And the Lord is going to deal with them for that. It says, for thy maker, it says, for thou shalt forget the shame of thy youth and shall not remember the reproach of thy widowhood anymore. And that's when the Lord turned his back on us, because we turn our back on him. For thy maker is thine husband. The Lord of hosts is his name. Yahweh Tazabawath, you know, which is the Lord of hosts. And thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the power of the whole earth shall he be called, right? And then you're going to have his son, which is going to be right underneath him, which is Yahweh Shai. For the Lord Yahweh hath called thee as a woman forsaken and grieved in spirit. And that's how we've been. We've been pretty much like a woman forsaken and grieved in spirit, a damsel in distress, so to speak, because there's no power or might in our hands to do anything. It says, and a wife of youth when thou was refused, saith thy power. For a small moment have I forsaken thee, but with great mercies will I gather thee. And this is great. These are great mercies that are extended to us by the Lord, giving us this knowledge and this truth to push out there. And that's why it's so important for brothers to push with the talent that the Lord gave them. Because if you got this grace, this mercy, this great mercy and grace, and you're not doing nothing with it, then the Lord's gonna move you out the way and put somebody there that will do it. This is a great kindness, man, a great mercy that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai extended to us. You know, we don't deserve it, but the Lord promised, because he swore upon his holy name. And that's why he said it's not for our righteousness, but for his holy name's sake that he's building us up. And that's why he's extending this great mercy to us. It says, in a little wrath, I hid my face from thee for a moment. Hey, because you brothers know that you brothers that have women, you know, women sometimes get on your nerve and you be mad at her, you know. But then after a while, you know, that anger kind of goes away, and then you know she gets back in your good graces. Well, we're back in the Most High's good graces, you know, Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you know. But with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee, saith the Lord, thy power, thy Redeemer. So the Lord is going to have mercy on us, everlasting kindness, and that's what we have right now. For this is as the waters of Noah unto me. And this is pretty much the same thing that was going on during the time when Noah was on the scene, and he was prophesying about the destruction that was coming back then through the flood. Today we're prophesying that we're Noah's again. You know, we represent Noah, so to speak. You know, Lord's will, you know, we be those hopefully elect. You know, and we're telling the people that the fire is coming, that the destruction is coming, and they laughing and ridiculing us the same way that they ridiculed Noah. It says, for as I have sworn that the waters of Noah should no more go over the earth, so have I sworn that I would not be wroth with thee nor rebuke thee. So the Lord now is to the point where he's raising us back up. For the mountains shall depart and the hills be removed, but my kindness shall not depart from thee. Neither shall the covenant of my peace be removed, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that hath mercy on thee. O thou afflicted, tossed with tempest and not comforted. And man, we have not been comforted. 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 All right. Should I say it again? We have not been comforted. Let's see. I'm trying to. Okay, right here, Jeremiah 15:5. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? Nobody is. You don't see the Moabites and Ammonites and Esau, none of them nations finding out how we doing. Are we all right? You know, do we need anything? They ain't concerned with us, man. All they're concerned with is themselves. And the only thing that they do is they come in the hood and pretty much exploit Jake. Whether they have a store where they sell these fucking expensive ass shoes and sneakers, or whether they have them death traps called Chinese restaurants, you know, where they sell you that bad food that's giving you bad health, you know, and taking your money from you. That's all they doing. They ain't helping us. And they not bemoaning us, and they will not bemoan us. Back in Isaiah 54:11, O thou afflicted, tossed with tempest, and not comforted, behold, I will lay thy stones with fair colors and lay thy foundations with sapphire. Man, we're going to be decked out. You remember when you go back in the history, how the Queen of Sheba saw King Solomon's the man that opened the doors, the doorman, and she thought that was Solomon. Can you imagine how bad he was decked out? You know what he must have had on. You know, I mean, the clothing that he had on, the shoes and the jewelry and all that he had on. He was glowing. She thought that was Solomon, and that was the doorman. So and that's in this kingdom. That's in this physical kingdom that we have here. So imagine when the kingdom of heaven is actually established, how we're gonna really shine, how great we're gonna really be. It says, and I will make thy windows of agates or agates, and thy gates of carbuncles, and all thy borders of pleasant stones. And man, Jerusalem is gonna be decked out, and we're gonna be decked out. You know, it's gonna be glorious. You know, when you read in Ecclesiasticus towards the latter chapters in the 40s, and it speaks about Aaron, you know, and the priests being arrayed in glorious apparel. Man, brother, we're gonna be arrayed even more. We're gonna be even more magnified than that. You know, the way we're gonna be decked out. It's almost unimaginable. You know, it's almost like, damn, for real, really? Yes, really. And all thy children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of thy children. Why? Because the laws are going to be in our inward parts. You know, the only way that we can really truly serve the Lord without going off is the laws have to be in our inward parts. That's why the Lord promised us that through the second covenant. It says, in righteousness shall thou be established, thou shalt be far from oppression. For thou shalt not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near thee. And we're no longer going to be terrified. You know how, like, now you're driving on the road and then you have a cop that comes behind you, you get nervous, you don't know if he's going to pull you over, he's going to hassle you, or, you know, that's going to be out the window. You're not going to be afraid to go into a neighborhood, you know, or you coming out of a restaurant and you see some grimy jakes, you know, standing next to your car. You don't know if they're going to try to do something or not. All that's going to be gone, man, amongst us anyway. It's going to be peace. Now that spirit that's on Jake to be grimy like that, them spirits are going to go over to Esau and the other nations, especially Esau. They're going to have grimy Edomites and shit looking at them, you know, scheming on them. You know, hey, brother, because they're going to, the scriptures say double. So it says, behold, they shall surely gather together, but not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake. All right, so let's go from there to Isaiah 61. Isaiah 61. Let's start at the first verse. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach the good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. And Jake is out here. We were all in bondage under the elements of this world at one time. But now the Lord woke us up and healed us of our broken hearts. You know, we're giving good tidings unto the meek. We're proclaiming liberty to the captives. Don't worry, brothers. We're going to get out of this captivity. First thing we have to do is free ourselves mentally. And that's what has happened, this great awakening. It says to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our power, to comfort all that mourn. So us that are in mourning, the Lord is going to comfort us. Yahweh said, in the world you shall have trouble, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. So we're going to overcome the world through the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It says to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes. Because right now we're in ashes, man. We're in mourning. You know, we're wearing fucking sackcloth. You know, you brothers be thinking they have some $200, $300 pair of sneakers and some $500 pair of jeans and a $300 t-shirt and a $100 fitted that they styling. You know, that's the man, that's sackcloth, man, compared to what we're gonna get. Now in this world, that's you know, so-called bling, but really that's really nothing. It's really sackcloth. It says the oil of joy for mourning, and the oil of joy is this knowledge, and that's what we've received. You know, we received the oil of joy for mourning, the garments of praise for the spirit of heaviness, which is this knowledge once again, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. And the Lord right now is glorifying and magnifying Israel right now. You know, it says, and they shall build the old waste. And right now the old wastes are being built how? By the Lord building back up the tabernacles of David. You know, and then eventually once the tabernacle of David is built up and the Lord delivers us out of here, then the other work commences, which is the replenishing and rebuilding back of this whole earth. They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolation of many generations. Because for many generations we were waste. We were laid waste, man. And slavery destroyed the southern kingdom and in a bad way. The reservation, the reservations, it destroyed Gad, you know, and Reuben, you know, because it totally deteriorated them. You know what Esau did to the so-called Latin tribes throughout the Caribbean, Mexico, Central America, and South America. It brought us down to a low condition, into ashes, and we were desolate for many generations. But now we're being built back up. It says, and strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, because we're going to receive slaves. And the sons of the aliens shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. And they're going to get busy, man. They're going to build our kingdom up. No doubt about it. But you shall be named the priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our power. No longer they're going to call us niggas and spicks and spooks. Those bywords are going to be pushed right out the window. And we're going to be called what we rightly are supposed to be called. Yasha Allah. He is the prince of the power. Okay. You shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall you boast yourself. And we're going to boast ourselves in these riches, man. We're going to be arrogant as hell towards these nations. The same way they're arrogant to us, we're going to be even more arrogant. You know, you see how Jake is when they get money. You know, Jake got that ruling class mentality when they got money. You know, they look down on people. Well, we're going to be looking down on the right people, which is Esau and the other nations. We ain't going to be looking down on each other. For your shame shall you have doubled, and for your confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. And man, and all you gotta do is reflect back to the shame that we suffered in this country and you know, the other countries where we're at, and we're gonna be greatly exalted. It says, therefore in their land they shall possess the double, everlasting joy shall be unto them. For I, the Lord, love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offering, and I will direct their work in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them. So we're not going to be brought down anymore. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles. Right. It's going to be like these. You see those children right there? Those are Israelites. They're going to have that glow. You know? That's why Balaam, when he saw it, he said, man, he wished he could be an Israelite, because he saw the latter end. He saw the downfall, but he also saw the latter end of Israel and how great we were going to be. It says, all that see them shall acknowledge them, they that are the seed of which the Lord hath blessed. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my power, for he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels. For as the earth bringeth forth her bud, And as a garden causes things that are sown in it to spring forth, so the Lord power will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations. And that's going to be a beautiful thing. All right, so let's go from there because we spoke about the jewels. Right, let's go from there to Malachi chapter 3. And let's go to 16. Then they that fear the Lord spake often one to another, and we speak to one another. And the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord and that thought upon his name. And we're pretty much the main group that really pushes the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Even though ISUPK knows the name, you don't really hear them pushing it that much. You know, Nate, they totally discarded the name. Bubble Light Blackfish, they totally changed the name. You know, so the only real group that's out there really pushing his name is a Great Millstone. And if there's any other groups out there that's pushing the name of the Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, beautiful. Continue. And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in the day when I make up my jewels. And I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. So the Lord is making up his jewels right now, and he's polishing the jewels. That's why we go through the different afflictions and the mental afflictions and the physical, you know, and just different shit that happens, because that's the Lord polishing us. You know, when you find a precious stone in the earth, you got to polish them. You got to clean them up. You got to get all that dirt off of them. Sometimes you got to burn certain metals to get the impurities out of it. You know, and then finally, once you go and it goes through that rigorous washing, so to speak, at the end of it, when it comes out, it's beautiful. You know, it's shiny, is pure. And that's what we're going through right now. And I will spare them as a man spared his own son that serveth him. Then shall you return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth the Most High and him that serveth him not. And that's what's happening right now. People are starting to see who's really serving the Lord and who's really not, or who's doing what they're supposed to do and who's not. And Great Millstone is doing what they're supposed to do. Okay. Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so now let's go from there to Isaiah 62. And for Zion's sake will I not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth. And the Gentiles shall see thy righteousness, and all kings thy glory, and thou shalt be called by a new name, which the mouth of the Lord shall name. So we're going to be exalted and magnified, man. Thou shalt also be a crown of glory in the hand of the Lord, and a royal diadem in the hands of thy power. And we read that in the last live stream I did in the book of Baruch, the 5th chapter, how the Lord is magnifying us. And we're going to be like when you have a beautiful crown and it has all the different stones on it, and you look at the crown and you admire the crown, like, wow, that's a beautiful crown. Those are some beautiful stones. Man, look at the way the sun hits it and glistens. Well, that's how we're going to be. We're going to be polished. Thou shalt no more be termed forsaken. Now, the term there, forsaken, is from the Hebrew word izab, right? And it says to leave, loose, forsake. So we're not going to be forsaken, you know, to depart from, leave behind, leave, let alone, to leave, abandon, forsake, neglect, apostatize. So at one time we were let go. No, we were orphans. We had no hope. But the Lord sent his son because he loves us to bring us back. So now we have the hope. We have the grace. We have the mercies. So we're no longer going to be termed forsaken. It says, neither shall thy land anymore be termed desolate. And the word for desolate, shamamah, which is devastation, waste, desolation. Okay? So we're not going to be in a desolate place. We're not going to be called niggas and spicks anymore. We're going to be called the glory of the Lord. You know, the people of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But thou shalt be called Hephzibah, which the word Hephzibah means, or from the Hebrew word Chapatazayah, ba. My delight is in her, because the Lord is delighting in us again. That's why he gave us this knowledge and this truth to wake us back up. It says, and thy land Beulah. The word Beulah is Baal, which means husband. So in other words, we're going to be married to the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Baal, to marry, rule over, possess, own. But really this time we're going to be married to Yahweh Shai. You know, that's what the marriage supper of the Lamb is all about. We're being prepared as this bride. And you know, when you have a bride, you can't just have some old rinky-dink hoe coming in there with a torn up dress. You know, she got to have the baddest dress. She got to be decked out. You know, she got to look good. She got to look beautiful. She got to have all the right ornaments on. And that's what the Lord is doing right now. He's beautifying us. He's making us white. You know, he's purging us. He's exalting us, elevating us. You know, let's see. For the Lord delighteth. The word again, chapatazah, which you read up here, chapatazah ba, which was Hephzibah, you know. So part of the Hephzibah is delight, which right here, chapatazah, is his delight. Okay. All right, moving on. It says, and thy land Beulah, for the Lord delighteth in thee, and thy land shall be married. For as a young man marrieth a virgin, so shall thy sons marry thee. And as a bridegroom rejoices over the bride, so shall thy power rejoice over thee. I have set watchmen upon thy walls, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silence. And that's the reason why we keep on teaching, because these things are the purge is going on, you know, and the word is going out. Those that take heed will be delivered. Those that don't take heed will be destroyed. And give him no rest till he establish, till he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. And the Lord, that's why we go out there and teach constantly, so the Lord can make us a praise, you know, in the earth and establish us, you know. And that's why these so-called Christians are they're trying to make us. They made a second a ditch attempt, you know, their last hurrah of trying to debunk this, because they're like, man, if these people are saying the truth, we're in trouble. And they know that we're telling the truth, and that's why they got their flunkies out there. But you can't stop it, man. That's like trying to stop an avalanche after it already started. The Lord hath sworn by his right hand and by the arm of his strength, surely I will no more give thy corn to be meat for thine enemies, and the sons of strangers shall not drink thy wine, for the which thou hast labored. But they that have gathered it shall eat it and praise the Lord, and they that have brought it together shall drink it in the courts of my holiness. And that's in the kingdom. Go through the gates, prepare you the way of the people. And that's what we're doing. Cast up the highway. And this is a highway. Gather out the stones. It said, walk ye in it. You know, when you turn to the right hand and when you turn to the left. Gather out the stones, which are the men that are supposed to be set up for this highway. Lift up a standard for the people, which is the scriptures. And that's what we're doing. Behold, the Lord hath proclaimed unto the end of the world. Say ye to the daughter of Zion, behold, thy salvation cometh. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. So all we have to do is keep on fighting, keep on praying with supplications for the Lord not to take his Holy Spirit from us, for us to be able to continue to fight, to be able to keep making these lessons, teaching these lessons, having ideas for lessons and titles for lessons and all of that. Why? Because it's already set, and salvation is coming. And they shall call them the holy people, the redeemed of the Lord, and thou shalt be called sought out, a city not forsaken. Now, I want to get some of these words in here. Redeemed. All right. The word redeemed is Ga'al. To redeem, act as a kinsman, redeemer, avenge, revenge, ransom, do the part of a kinsman. In other words, to buy back, to be bought back. All right. To redeem, and thou shalt be called sought out. The word sought out is darash. To resort to, seek with care, inquire, require. So we're being sought out. And how are you being sought out? By the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And the word that's being preached out there is gathering back the Lord's elect. All right. It says, a city not forsaken. And the word forsaken again, Izab, which we read earlier. All right. So now from there, let's go to, you know what? I got a few more precepts, but you know, I think that's pretty much a good place to pretty much stop it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit these two more precepts, you know, because I got like one more chapter and then another half a chapter, but I think I'm just gonna jump to Zechariah 14th chapter, and then one more precept after that, and we end it with that. Zechariah 14 and 16. And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Because I was going to read Isaiah the 60th chapter, but I know some of the brothers already posted some of those verses on there. You know, and Isaiah the 60th chapter is pretty much the nations going into captivity under us, you know, and serving us. So you brothers that haven't read it, I suggest you go and read that. That's a real beautiful chapter of how we're going to have slaves, okay, from all these different nations. And then this came in after, because these nations are going to be forced to keep our high holy days. They're going to be forced to follow behind the law, statutes, and commandments, as the brother just put on there for in the book of Isaiah the 2nd chapter. All right, 17th verse. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague, wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacles. They're gonna feel it. They're gonna be happy to serve, you know, to serve us, because they know that they're gonna get a fair shake. All right, you know, even though they're gonna get their ass whooped for 1,000 years, but they know that once we back into power, everything's gonna be back in its proper order. In that day shall there be upon the bells of horses holiness unto the Lord. You know, now you see the horses, they look all jacked up. Our horses are going to be decked out, you know, with clothing, but the clothing is going to be bad, man. Silk, you know, with gold linings, the silver linings, you know, bells, the golden bells and silver bells, you know, man, with you know, the reins, you know, with decked out with different stones, you know, it's going to be beautiful, man. It says, yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness unto the Lord of hosts, and all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them and seethe therein. And in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of the Lord of hosts, because these nations will not be in rejoicing in the kingdom. And like the brother from Hawaii put, real food, real air, real happiness. And it tells you in Revelation 21, I believe it is, that the Lord shall wipe away all tears from our eyes. We ain't gonna be sad no more. We're not gonna be looking for Ben and Jerry's chunky monkey ice cream, you know, to eat the whole goddamn gallon because you're depressed. You know, no more reaching for those Funyuns or whatever the hell. Hope brother they eat no goddamn Funyuns or funny bones and shit, because you so depressed you just want to eat something sweet to kind of take your depression away, and then that just makes it worse. You know, it's gonna be an everlasting joy, man. It's gonna be beautiful, man. And when I was watching this video with Pastor Tahar, that set the tone for the lesson. So I said, you know what? The Spirit said, just take this part of those 2 minutes, put it in there, start with that, and then go on to the lesson. And Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, because you know, through the Spirit, you know, everything came together. So that was it on that. And the last precept I want to leave you with, like I said, I wanted to read Isaiah 60 and Isaiah 66, but you brothers could read that, you know, when you have time. And that's even more showing that we'll be magnified and we'll have slaves, and the Lord's going to raise us up, you know. I'm sorry, you know what? Let me hit Isaiah 66. Salaki, I must be allowed to read it. I'm just gonna. I had some other verse, but I'm gonna just jump to the 18th verse. It says, "For I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come that what I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. And I will set a sign among them, and I will send those that escape of the nation of them unto the nations, to Tarshish, Pul, and Lud, that draw the bow, to Tubal and Javan, to the isles afar off, that have not heard my fame, neither have they seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles." Why? Because you have Israelites that are scattered among them. "And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all nations upon horses." So you're gonna have Israelites that are gonna be brought by these nations from all different nations. They're gonna be brought on horses. They're gonna be brought in majesty. Because remember, the person that sits on a horse, they're royalty. They're royal. That's why the precepts say that I have seen servants upon horses. This is what the fuck what that honky doing on that nag, you know? Like Stephen said about Django. He said, what that nigga doing on that nag? Because he knew only so-called white people that at that time were esteemed high enough to be able to sit on a horse. So they're going to bring our children on horses out of these different nations, and in chariots, and in litters, and upon mules, and upon swift beasts, to my Salakia, to my holy mountain Jerusalem, saith the Lord, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of the Lord. Why? Because they're going to be cleaned up from all that filthiness. It said, and I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, for as the new heavens and the new earth which I will make shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it's not, we're not going back to that byword in Proverbs anymore. Okay, that's going to be put on the other nations. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. We show you we're supposed to be keeping the new moon as a Sabbath with the other Sabbaths. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorrent unto all flesh. In other words, this is going to be written about for a long time. You know, like the scriptures tell you in Isaiah 65, that they shall leave their name for a curse unto my chosen. You know, like what we read right now about King Saul, you know, we read about Judas Iscariot, and we read about Corey, Dathan, Abiram, Achan, you know, certain names like that. And their name, their memory is stained because of the wickedness they did. Well, that's the same thing in the kingdom. But after a while, all that's going to die out, you know, because the Lord said he's going to take away the tears from us. The only time we're going to cry is one more time, is when the Lord shows us the body of Yahushua in the condition it was in when it was on the cross, you know, so that we can mourn and lament and see the great sacrifice that this man made for us to be able to receive this gift. Okay. And the last precept I'm going to leave you with is in the book of Haggai, chapter 2 and verse 9. And it says, the glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, saith the Lord of hosts. And in this place will I give peace, saith the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So Barak Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that brought us through this journey, that woke us back up to the knowledge of the truth, and had mercy on us to show us these and trust us with these great words and this great information and doctrine to push out there, man. Brothers, we're very privileged, man. We're very blessed to know this outside of all the millions of Israelites that are out there, billions of Israelites that are out there. We're the Lord gave it to us, man. You know, so hey, Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for that. And hey, brothers, we almost out of here. You know, we just got to keep fighting and clawing, you know, whatever we got to do so that the Lord can take this place out, you know, and deliver us soon. And that way we can enjoy the fruits of our labors. We can enjoy the kingdom. We can enjoy each other, you know, not have to worry about traveling all the way across the country or whatever to go see brothers, because we're going to be there and, you know, not have to worry about, okay, I got to go to work, so I can only stay a day or two. You know, we'll be able to have a good time, man, in the kingdom of heaven, man. But right now it's grind time, you know. What time is it? It's grind time, you know. So we're on the grind right now. Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And with that, I hope you brothers have been edified. Until the next time, I say shalom.